Hey everybody, I got another build in the works here. This is my Dazed and Confused Corsair build. Corsair is rogue and defense, and that's not one of the really popular class combinations, but I think it works out pretty well. It's a very high dexterity type of build. Both mastery trees give a lot of dexterity and some strength. So let's take a look at attribute points. I'm spending 1-to-1 strength and dexterity. But I'll probably end up with more strength because items give more strength and dexterity typically. But anytime you got a melee combination that does a lot of piercing, poison, or bleeding, it's good to go a little bit more with dexterity to take advantage of those damage types. If you're not doing those, you're probably going to go higher strength, 2-to-1 or 3-to-2 strength. So I am going to rely a lot on poison here particularly. So right now I am higher on strength, but that's because of items. And I also put 2 points in energy. I know a lot of people don't like to spend points on energy, but you get 40 per skill point now. I think it's worth it. And this is kind of becoming standard for me when I'm combining 2 melee classes. Your mastery trees don't give any energy. And I'm starting to think this might be a design flaw. So if you're playing a caster, you're going to get 4 stats here. You're going to get intelligence, dexterity, health, and energy. So you only get 3 if you're playing melee. And considering the high cost of energy and reserved energy cost, I really think it would have been appropriate to have some energy in the mastery trees. So even if you had to sacrifice a little bit of health for it. So it's pretty regular now for me to put a couple of points in the energy. So with 2 points I'm getting 80 energy. As you can see, I don't have a lot of energy here. You got to try to wear some energy regen items to make up for it. Alright, so let's get on to skill points. Let's start with defense. I'm skipping the adrenaline tree for now. That's something I'll probably get to in epic. I don't think it's that important on normal. And I've waited till I'm 38 now. I've kind of waited before I did the first video because this is the kind of build that really takes a lot of points to get going. So I wanted to wait till I had something put together before I did the first build video. So I have rally, and I take that mainly for the heal. I don't have health regen. You can get a little bit on adrenaline, and I don't have much for items with health regen, and I don't have any heal on hit type weapons. So to cut down on health potions between fights, I can use rally some of the time to get hit points back. You can also gain some other stats from it. So you got your elemental resistance, damage reflected, and you can get some energy back here, but it's short term and it doesn't amount to a real lot. Battle awareness, I always take this on a defense build. Gives you some extra defensive ability, some armor, shield block, and you get all these resistances for Iron Will. So that's pretty nice for a couple of points. I usually put 1 or 2 here, then I just use the rest on my plus skills items. Quick recovery. I only have 1 point here. I am plus 2 to skills. So this is just going to give me some extra shield block and armor absorption. That's pretty handy for some bosses and any tough situations you come up against. Now I have both shield charge and batter. Now, I think shield charge is a better skill, but it's a 12-second cooldown. It's 4-second on batter. So what I'm using these for mostly right now is to spread poison. So for defense class, shields count as weapons. So with the rogues and venom weapon, I can actually spread that poison with the shields, and the shields hit multiple targets. So right now I just have the 1 point in shield charge. I put an extra point in disruption so that I could hit an extra target. So I'm up to 3 targets. Batter also is hitting 3 targets. Armor handling. So this will reduce some requirements. Strength for armor and shields. So if I want to go heavy on dexterity, I can, and still be able to equip some strength-based armor. And also that extra armor absorption is pretty nice. So you know, armor absorbs 66% of incoming damage up to its value. So you can increase on the 66% with this armor absorption. It's multiplicative, so it's not like you add 12% to the 66. where you're going to end up, if you max this out, you're going to have like over 80% armor absorption. So all these shield passes are nice skills. The one I like best is Pulverize, and that hits up to 3 targets. So that's the one I want to fill out first, and I'm also going to be filling out the other ones over time. A point in Colossus just for bosses. In Rogue, I took Calculated Strike and Lucky Hit as my left mouse button attack, and that does some pretty decent damage every 4th hit. I put a point in Anatomy. That's 60% bleeding damage with the 1 point and the +2 skills. And I took that to try to maximize the bleeding damage from shrapnel, so that does count toward that. I also have a weapon with bleeding damage, so it'll increase that. And at some point I'll probably take Open Wound, but that's another thing for Epic. Lethal Strike I didn't take yet. That's another thing eventually I'll probably get. It's nice against bosses, gives you a nice big damage boost. It's a single target. See, right now I'm concentrating more on multiple target. So that last build I did, the Slayer, was really strong against single targets. This is going to be more for taking out packs and multiple targets. So I want to boost my damage to packs, and I'll worry about the single target stuff later. So that's the reason I didn't take Blade Honing yet either. That's single target, because it's not going to apply to your shield attacks. It's going to increase your pierce ratio and also gives you some extra piercing damage. That's another thing for later. Now you could take Throwing Knives here to help against ranged attacks, but what I did instead is I went with Gas Bomb. And I put a lot of points in here already because I really want it to help with the archers here in Act 4, and I'd like it to be able to kill some instead, other than just slowing them. I put a point in Disarm Traps. It also works against constructs, so less damage from and more damage to constructs, so it's worth it for that. The Envenom Weapon Tree. What I like best here for defensive purposes is this Mandrake. And even though this was nerfed, the 20% chance of confusion that I get right now would be 40% in Immortal Throne, but they cut the confusion chance in half. So you also have here Nightshade, which slows mobs. But remember, slows don't stack, so only the better slow takes effect. So I have a lot of things that slow. You also get some slow here from the Gas Bomb. You get slow from some of these shield attacks, so they're not all going to stack. So only one's in effect. So I don't think this part of it is as important if I didn't have some of the other slows. So I want to fill out Mandrake, and then eventually I will fill out the tree, because this does also increase your percentage poison damage. I didn't take Flash Powder, but that's a pretty nice skill. And the range isn't that great as far as if you're trying to use it on ranged attacks. It's great if you're in a pack of things. It's going to send them all scattering. So Gas Bomb is good for ranged, and also if you drop it in a pack, you'll take a pack out a lot quicker. And okay, let's take a look at some gear. And I didn't farm Stonebinder's Cuffs this time. I decided to farm some bosses to grab some stuff. So right now I have Song of the Serpent for an artifact. It has some poison damage, but I like it for the pierce and poison resist mostly. I also have a Chaos Cube, which gives me a little bit more damage. But right now in this part of the game, I'd rather have those resistances. Galleon Curious, and this has 1 to all skills in defense. I had Garb of the Scorpion King, and that had 1 to all skills in Rogue. But the armor is low, 63. I'd rather have that 112. The legs, Epius Greaves, only 36 armor. I'm hanging on to it for the 1 to all skills in Rogue. I'd like to upgrade that when I can. Rams's Coil on the wrist. This is actually pretty good for a Rogue here, as 25% poison damage, dexterity, offensive ability, attack speed. They're not too bad. I'll hang on to those till epic. The shield, Babylonian Shield. Pierce resistance, shield block, physical damage, and 102 defensive ability. So that falls right into this build, goes good with defense. Now for weapons, actually before the weapon, I have a store-bought Hallowed Helm. And I got the 1 to all skills and the vitality resistance. I have a few store-bought things here. The Talisman of the Guile did drop, and these are fairly common, but bleeding and poison damage and chance to avoid projectiles. So that's really good for rogue stuff. Both these rings I bought from the vendor. Here's a robust seal of virility, 23 strength, 17% strength, also an 8% health, and a tainted seal of the osprey. So normally these are just the piercing, but the tainted affix on there also adds some poison damage. And I put some Hecate's crescents there, and I put it on 2 of these to help with energy. On this one I put the Monkey Kings for the reduced resistances. And that's another thing about this build. There's no way to reduce resistances like the Slayer had, and that makes a big difference. So even though I probably had the similar damage per second at this point in the game, things will go down, especially bosses, things are going down slower because I can't drop their resistances. I also put a Shenangs to reduce resistances on my weapon. Now I did some weapon farming, and I had a Sabertooth. I still have a Sabertooth as a backup, and that's a pretty nice one there with the extra physical damage on it. But this Squilch Skinner, this is a really nice weapon, and they don't get talked about that much. I farmed 2 of these in the Stygian Marsh, and I've got 2 in like 7 runs. I was kind of surprised. But this one also has 7% chance of confusion, so that falls right into this build with the confusion I'm getting from poison. And they always come with the bleeding damage and the chance of bleeding damage. So anything else on top of that is going to be another affix. And this weapon is just as fast as a Sabertooth. I mean, as far as the rating, it's a very fast. And it does really good damage. So I farmed those, and I actually had a lot of good weapons to choose from. I also had this Ketos Chomp. That does some really nice damage, has good stats on it. And I had several Sabertooths. Fenoy dropped a little while ago, and that has poison damage, life leech, attack converted to health. So that's a pretty nice weapon too. The damage isn't going to be quite as high as what I have, but that attack converted to health is would be kind of nice. So that's my setup right there. I'm in Tower of Judgment. So let's do some gameplay, and we'll see how this is going. We're going to probably play through up until Cerberus. That's the wrong way. Alright, so I like throwing out a gas bomb. If they come charging in, a lot of times I'll follow it up with a shield charge. And I got a hero right here. And the poison works pretty good against demons. It's not that great against undead. So the undead archers can be a problem. It works good against demon archers. So mostly this shield stuff is just to spread poison. So you want to daze them with the shield, confuse them with the poison. I want to get these together. See, like right here, I'll just drop a gas bomb in the pack, and then they go down like nothing. So that's actually a demon and not an undead, so the poison's working pretty good against him. Tortured Soul. Those drop from those pink flamingo looking demons. But sometimes they come off of them too. So this has been a pretty good build so far. It's fairly durable. I don't think it's quite as durable as the Slayer, because there was some more avoidance type of things, with dodge attacks, avoid projectiles in that build. And the poison, while it works really good on this trash, it's not that effective against bosses. Bosses are usually pretty much immune to things like confusion, and even some slows don't work very good against bosses. Whereas you can drop the resistances on them with Study Prey on the Slayer, and it kind of makes them take your damage. So these are pretty tough. These are some strong archers here. And my attack didn't land.
Noble hero, over here. It's safe in here. But
Well, let's grab some loot while we're out here. I got some greens. Wow, a lot of greens. Alright, I'll take it for the money. And nothing. Well, these are the guile. See, these aren't bad because they got that poison and bleeding. That's something I would consider wearing. Put an artifact, I'll put a relic on there. What I'll do sometimes also is, if I think they're gonna run away from where my bomb landed, is sometimes I'll charge in and intercept them so they stay there and stand in the poison. See, so right now they're stuck in that poison. They're gonna die pretty quick. But not too much trouble with these archers. If you let them hit you, they're going to do a lot of damage though, so you want to take them out quick. But you have the tools to do that. Use rally for a heal. So another thing you can do is, especially with a fast weapon, and I like fast weapons for rogues, so you can switch targets. You hit one and let the poison do its stuff and then go to another target. Alright, Cerberus is in here. I don't have any less damage from beast items, so I'm just going to go in and I got 32% poison resist, which isn't that great to have against him, but I'm going to go with it. And I have Colossus, and I should be okay. I'm going to stand in the hall here. I'm not going to like stand right in the poison. I get a little poison on him. And I think my thing didn't make it, got intercepted. Okay, I'm going to run out there, then I'll come back. Just want to pull him and then get him out of the poison area. He's out of energy. Yeah, I didn't time that too well as far as my Colossus. See, it's taking me a little bit of time to beat him down. If you got some way to drop his resistance, then he's going to go down a lot quicker. And nothing much good there. Alright, I'm just going to end here. I just wanted to do a short gameplay. I'll have another update probably around Act 2 of Epic. So if you ever played a Corsair, let me know in the comments what you thought of it, how it worked out. And I'll see you in the next video next time. See you later.